Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Bajans were excited to welcome the first cruise ship to its shore since March last year. This story takes the lead in our 1128th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 8th June 2021. Details after this break.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Barbados was expected to welcome the first cruise ship to its shore since the onset of the lockdown, which started March 2020 on account of the coronavirus pandemic. More in this Monday morning edition of Barbados Today Online News.
In a few hours, Barbados will welcome the first cruise to its shores in more than a year. Celebrity Millennium will make a transit call here this morning with 630 fully vaccinated people on board. Minister of Tourism and International Transport, Senator Lisa Cummins, made the disclosure over the weekend.
So far, what we have begun has been vaccinated-only cruises. So 100% of the persons on these ships will be vaccinated. They did not hesitate. They decided to vaccinate. And so that's what Minister of Health just said, and I think that's probably going to be one of the things that we will probably have to steal from him in time to come. But yes, so 100% of the crew and 100% of the passengers all vaccinated, all tested prior to departure from their country of origin. In this case, the Celebrity Millennium is home porting in St. Martin, and so they are going to be leaving from St. Martin, and the first port of call on Monday will be Barbados. They will arrive in Barbados having done their 3 days prior to arrival test, as is required for Barbados, and then they will be subjected to the screening on board the vessel, and then when they arrive here in Barbados.
Minister Cummins said passengers are expected to begin to disembark around 11 a.m.
There will also be bubble tours. Now, what's a bubble tour, you ask? What that means is that we're restricting what types of activity can be undertaken at this stage. Because despite our best efforts and despite the level of rigor that we have put into developing these protocols, this is still the first ship. We need to take small, confident, but careful steps. And so we're not opening the doors and the floodgates immediately. We're just doing this deliberately, but slowly and gradually. By the time we have the first call on Monday, we're going to be in a position to review where we are.
Meantime, the NIS in Barbados received over 20,000 unemployment benefit claims between January and April of this year, paying out over $16 million. Details in this Barbados Today news item.
Labour Minister Colin Jordan made the disclosure during a virtual church service to celebrate 54 years of the National Insurance Scheme under the theme Health, Safety and Protection. He said despite the economic challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the NIS continues to provide financial support to citizens.
With the onset of the pandemic last year, the rate of unemployment rose sharply due to the negative impact on the economy. In 2020, the NIS received 52,282 unemployment benefit claims from over 34,000 persons, resulting in the payment of $155.5 million. Between January and April this year, 20,260 unemployment benefit claims were received, and payments totaling $16 million were made. Ladies and gentlemen, this goes to show that the National Insurance Scheme is indeed more than a contribution. It was challenging for displaced workers to quickly find jobs, And over the 6 months in which benefits were paid, the National Insurance Scheme has proven to be an actual lifeline.
Minister Jordan urged employers to continue to pay NIS contributions for employees in a timely manner. He also made an appeal to self-employed persons to pay their contributions.
I appeal to employers to accept your responsibility to your employees. Continue to report earnings and pay NIS contributions in a timely manner so that in the unfortunate event of redundancy, eligible persons are able to provide for themselves, their families, and other dependents. The COVID-19 pandemic has engendered resilience and encouraged new approaches to fulfilling and rewarding work, as not all persons affected were able to be reemployed. Some persons have used their skills and talents to start business ventures in areas in which they have had interests. For those who are now self-employed and may think that NIS does not apply to them or do not know how to start paying their own contributions, I make an appeal to you to obtain the necessary information, register with the NIS, and start contributing toward your future.
As more of the life-changing vaccines flow into Trinidad and Tobago, the Minister of Health, Terence Dialasing, is seeking to assure the population that different age groups will be given their chance to be vaccinated. TTT News brings us more.
On Saturday, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley announced that Trinidad and Tobago would be receiving 800,000 Johnson & Johnson one-dose vaccines in August, as well as a substantial shipment of Sinopharm vaccines on Thursday. Mr. Dialasing says in addition to the elderly, the ministry has already started to vaccinate middle-aged persons at health centres, especially those with NCDs. And once a more widely available supply of vaccine flows into the country, other age groups will be given their chance.
So, we'll be doing 40 to 60, finish that age group. Then 20 to 40, finish that age group. And we could accomplish that by around October this year. For the absolute latest, once the vaccine supply is predictable and comes in large enough quantities, and that starts this week.
While the minister notes that the first-come, first-served system for vaccines will come into effect on Wednesday and assures that crowd control measures are already in place.
What we are doing now is finishing off those few thousand persons who have appointments. That will be finished between Monday and Tuesday. And then first come, first serve starts on Wednesday. Because the elderly have been telling us they don't know how to use WhatsApp, they don't have internet access and so on.
The health minister says when this country begins to receive huge shipments of vaccines, its target to administer these vaccines will be in excess of 380,000 per month.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
The Central Planning and Housing Authority will begin selling plots of land in Judges Hill, the same area that a piece of land will be raffled as an incentive for citizens of Antigua and Barbuda to take the vaccine. ABS's Jamie J. Roche takes a look.
A view of the area in Judges Hill, where the Central Housing and Planning Authority is preparing land for sale.
Upscale, central to town. Very good surrounding infrastructure with regards to highways, 5 minutes to the city, 2 minutes to the airport.
Chapper's Housing Executive Officer Mark Richards says they've divided the area into 32 parcels. There's been increased buzz over the area since the government announced it would donate one parcel to a lucky vaccine recipient. Everyone who takes the AstraZeneca jab between June 7 and 30 is eligible for the raffle.
Well, this particular parcel is 8,100 square feet. The value of the package is approximately $65,000.
The land is in St. George constituency, and Parliament Representative the Honourable Dean Jonas encourages everyone to take the vaccine to reduce the spread of COVID-19 in the population.
We need to have at least 60 to 70,000 Antiguans and Barbudans vaccinated.
And so the government, this is just another one of the incentives.
Chapel's housing executive officer says they'll begin selling the remaining parcels in about a week. Citizens can apply via Chapel's website or at its Lower Oceans Road headquarters.
On average, the cost will be about $750 a square foot.
Richard says over 100 people have already applied for the 31 parcels left at the Judges Hill development. I am Jamie J. Roche reporting for ABS News.
As the Atlantic hurricane season commences, the Department of Emergency Management in Barbados is asking the churches to do its part in fostering a sense of preparedness in the community.
DEM Director Kerry Hines issued the appeal during a church service at the Silver Sands Church of God yesterday.
I take this opportunity on behalf of the Department of Emergency Management to encourage you to foster a sense of preparedness and readiness in thought, word, and deed to deal with any hazard that may affect you. I encourage you to utilize your influence and voice to actively encourage community members to prepare to weather the storm. Heed the warnings, stay connected and informed, as well as put the necessary precautions in place to ensure your own safety and that of your family. Ensure that you have your disaster preparedness plan. I applaud you for the work that as a church family you continue to do by God's grace. Extend your church as a safe haven for those in need. Assist us in the psychosocial aspects of disaster management, that is, offering counseling services to an affected population in a post-disaster setting. As a church and as a church family, I believe you are well poised to serve in this way. Disaster management requires partnerships, teamwork, and coordination. Experience has taught us this. We need the church to play its part in the preparedness and readiness effort this and every season.
The leader of the PLP, Progressive Liberal Party in the Bahamas, has questioned the government's decision to allot a value-added tax holiday to residents.
PLP leader Philip Davis is questioning the value-added tax holiday when thousands of Bahamians are still reeling from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. He said the minister's administration is disconnected from ordinary Bahamians.
To offer a VAT holiday on hurricane supplies when many Bahamians today are homeless and cannot put food on their table and don't know yet where the next salary will be coming from and or where the next resource will come from to enable them to look after their family. A VAT holiday will only be beneficial if persons are able to take advantage of it.
Addressing Parliament on Wednesday, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced the value-added tax holiday will be introduced next month to make hurricane preparations more affordable. He added there would also be a VAT holiday on school supplies for the second straight year ahead of the next school year. However, Davis said many Bahamians can't afford to take advantage of the VAT holidays, and that's not his only concern.
What needs to happen is they need to get on the ground, understand the vulnerabilities of our people, and address to this.
Last year, government introduced legislation allowing the Minister of Finance to provide VAT holidays up to 2 times per year for up to 30 days for specific reasons.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.